Your mama be here in a few minutes.
Of course, it would be like that now. Yeah, boy. Money.
I'm sorry.
You fine?
Okay. You're all right.
I'm glad you got your laptop fixed though.
Your Discover card.
I am
You
too.
can use free
Now here a
to
commercial.
prevent new purchases on your account in seconds. And once you find it, you can switch it right on again.
Well, actually, when we broadcast, I'm pretty sure they'll stop. They do commercials in
Yeah,
the
they
middle
do.
of the broadcast because it's free.
They do.
Yeah, but I learned that when I was watching somebody else broadcast. Then all of a sudden a commercial came in, and then after commercial went off, then they would.
That's why I like Periscope, because it just goes straight through.
Yeah, it is nice. Well, I guess like any technology, sometimes Periscope goes down, but it goes down everywhere else as well. Though that's one of that's just technology. There's always a fallacy of what something will mess up. But I have to admit though, I am enjoying. I don't want to really talk about it using being on this format though, but yeah, it's nice having the different platforms. I'm just really glad God has just fixed it so now that people don't have an excuse that they used to have, because God's fixed it so now that you can get the gospel to people now, and you can get it to them. I mean, let's stop and think about it. It's about literally around the world. In China right now, you can sit down with a smartphone or their laptop or they can look at us. They can look at us live. They can look at us in the library. So it's such a big shift in the. I think it's one of the problems at first that the church missed about television. You did have some people who were smart enough, like Oral Roberts and Rex Humbard. They certainly were pioneers in TV, that they saw how the good that could come out of it, that you could take the gospel and reach a lot of people with it. And you think about a lot of people got saved, blessed, and healed. A lot of people, especially they may be in a remote area or they're in an area where the power of God is really not present like it ought to be. And Christian TV is the only thing that's keeping them going. Because, you just got very few people that you can fellowship with who actually have some understanding of Scripture, much less have the real power of God in their lives. So Christian TV, as well as especially even radio, is and so God's given us this platform. I'm really, really happy. Now, depending on how you count the days, now Passover to me started sundown last Thursday or last week, but some people don't count until the next day itself. But generally, Hebrew or Jewish people, they start the holiday on the sundown. You have the only person I know that still consider themselves still observing Passover is David Herzog. They still got a meeting that ends today. I think their second meeting will start in a few hours by them being 3 hours behind us. Their first meeting today. Well, tell the truth, their first meeting is probably just ended maybe an hour or two ago. Because they started at 2:00 their time, and so that's 5:00 our time. So they might still be going from the first meeting. At any rate, we're going to talk maybe about something else as well. But we're going to talk about Passover, and we're going to talk about Passover in the significance. A lot of times the Bible talks about things, but what I have observed is, depending on where you go to church and depending on what your pastor wants you to know, they don't delve a great deal in the Passover. They talk about the Passover in the past, and they don't always mention it, how it still has relevance to today. I still think it's one of those things that people generally in the Christian church want to relegate to Judaism, and they don't realize that it still works for us today. It's just a matter of recognizing. The Bible clearly states that Jesus is our Passover. And I think, again, it's trying to keep a delineation or a separation between the old covenant and new covenant, not recognizing that God said certain things. And he said those things and he meant it to be a duration of man's time. There is so much information that's going out, but there's so much disinformation that's happening. There's a lot of false doctrine that's going on. And, I was just looking on Facebook just in the last half hour, and I saw one of my Facebook friends, Lord, this girl is going through some stuff. There's a lot about scripture she knows and a lot about scripture she doesn't know. And she kind of reminds me of the guy that you went to school with at A&T.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like she sees all this false stuff and thinking that that's all this great inclusive knowledge that other folk don't have. She wants to share it.
So you're talking about the video she shared about the generational curse that's supposed to be on black people?
Oh, not just that, but I saw something just a while ago, hadn't been just a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
There was something else saying that there's no rapture. And
Holy cow.
they go to show you that, Well, see, people mess up because, this person is not the most articulate individual. And they also prove that what did Jesus say? You do err because you know not the scriptures, The Bible clearly states that there's people going to be caught up.
Mhm.
See, if again, people keep missing what words mean. The term is used rapture. The term caught up is from the Greek word rapturo. So in English, you would say rapture. So it's not folk really making stuff up.
Mhm.
It's people not knowing language. And see, again, they haven't been taught so much. I had a dream this morning where I've been saying some things expounding the gospel over the past 2 weeks. And some conversation I had last week with my UPS driver.